जय गुरु जी, शुक्राना गुरु जी शुक्राना आज के सत्संग के लिए। संगत जी, शुक्राना गुरु जी का। टुडे वी हैव नितिका आंटी विद अस who would share her blessings and journey with us. Aunty, can you please unmute yourself?
जय गुरु जी।
जय गुरु जी आंटी।
जय गुरु जी। गुड मॉर्निंग एंड गुड आफ्टरनून। बहुत बहुत प्रणाम टू गुरु जी प्यारी संगत ऑल ओवर द वर्ल्ड. Thank you, Aunty. Thank you, Guruji, for giving me this chance to remember my blessings. I'm sure I really needed it right now. Actually, you will see I did really need it right now. So, बहुत बहुत शुक्राना Guruji. तो I'll start at the beginning so that you have some context कि हम गुरुजी से कैसे मिले और जुड़े. Not just physically हम कैसे मिले, लेकिन हमारे hearts कैसे जुड़े, and why I have so much faith in Guruji and so much love for Guruji, and how Guruji's love is so infinite and all powerful. And उसके बाद सत्संग तो डेली होते रहते हैं. As much as I can share, I will share. आंटी आप बस मुझे टाइम बता देना या रोक देना जब भी आपका टाइम हो जाए, या जब भी गुरुजी का टाइम हो जाए गुरुजी बता देंगे.
Perfect, that's perfect aunty.
ठीक है आंटी. सो जय गुरुजी. सो आई थिंक सबने सुना ही होगा कि गुरुजी हमें अपने पास तब बुलाते हैं जब डिसाइपल रेडी होता है. Not when we want him, but when we need him and we are ready for him to receive him, तब गुरुजी सामने आते हैं. But गुरुजी अगर हमें इस जन्म में हम सब सत्संग में बैठे हैं, तो गुरुजी ने हमें बहुत-बहुत जन्मों से तार दिया है और बहुत टाइम से हमारे सोल के ऊपर गुरुजी का हाथ है. एंड गुरुजी हैज़ गाइडेड अस थ्रू मेनी लाइफटाइम्स to clean our karma and get to the point that we could know of Guruji in this lifetime. तो मैं जब से छोटी थी मैं बहुत बीमार रहती थी. um, it's funny I'm saying this on day 13 of having COVID, but I'll come back to this also. तो कुछ ना कुछ मुझे होता रहता था. मुझे एक स्किन डिजीज डेवलप हो गई थी, विटिलिगो, जिसे आई थिंक इंडिया में ल्यूकोडर्मा कहते हैं. आउट ऑफ द ब्लू जस्ट ओवरनाइट एक दिन स्किन पे वाइट पैचेस हो गए थे. तो बिटवीन द एजेस ऑफ 5 and 19 हमने बहुत सारे उपाय किए. मॉम एंड डैड टुक मी टू मेनी डॉक्टर्स, होम्योपैथिक, एलोपैथिक, गंगा जल वाला, फोटो कीमोथेरेपी, बहुत एक्सट्रीम एक्सट्रीम ट्रीटमेंट्स भी किए थे, कड़वी दवाइयाँ भी ली थी. तो बाय द टाइम आई वाज़ अ यंग एडल्ट एट 19, डॉक्टरों पे तो मेरा विश्वास टोटली उठ गया था, बिकॉज़ मेरा एक्सपीरियंस था कि नथिंग वर्क्स. फिर आई हैड कम टू हम मिडल ईस्ट में रहते हैं. फिर आई हैड कम टू कॉलेज इन द यूएस, एंड ऑन वन ऑफ माय हॉलिडे समर हॉलिडे ट्रिप्स बैक हम लोग इंडिया थे, नियर माय नानी एंड मासीज एंड ऑल. एंड हम एक और डॉक्टर के पास गए, एक और दवाई ली, बट कंप्लीटली विदाउट हार्ट और फेथ. तो फिर दवाई लेते ही मॉम सेड, यू डोंट नीड अ डॉक्टर, यू नीड अ स्पिरिचुअल हीलर. और मैंने वो दवाई कभी खाई भी नहीं. इट वाज जस्ट लाइक बाइंग एंड डंपिंग इट, बिकॉज़ वी हैड जस्ट नो फेथ इन इट एनीमोर. तो एट द सेम टाइम मेरे पापा को एक संगत ने गुरुजी के बारे में बताया, जिनको हम जानते थे कुछ सालों से, बट ही हैड नॉट मेंशन्ड गुरुजी अंटिल these words were said. Guruji was so much more than a spiritual healer, but this was our entry path. तो अंकल ने पापा को बताया, फिर हम सब गुरुजी के सत्संग में गए. उन दिनों सब लोग नहीं बैठते थे लंगर के लिए. सबको गुरुजी का एक वो मुट्ठी भर के बड़ा-सा कड़ा प्रसाद मिलता था. वन स्टीमिंग बिग पाइल ऑफ प्रसाद, एंड जो हम 2 हाथों में भी सँभाल नहीं पाते थे. एंड कुछ-कुछ लोगों को गुरुजी कहते थे कि रुको, लंगर करो. So on our first visit, we were blessed to be asked to stay back for langar. तो हमने लंगर खाया, एंड नॉट मच हैपेंड. जैसे ओपनली ओवर्टली नॉट मच हैपेंड, अंदर से बहुत कुछ हो गया। तो वी वर ऑल वेरी इन ब्राइट लाइट्स, एनामर्ड बाय गुरुजी's प्रेजेंस कि ये तो कुछ डिफरेंट जगह है, गुरुजी की एनर्जी कुछ डिफरेंट है, ही इज नॉट जस्ट वेयरिंग जैसे सैफरॉन रोब्स एंड क्वाइटली सिटिंग। तो फिर हम जब जाने लगे लंगर के बाद, गुरुजी ने कहा कल आना, बट वी सेड, आई थिंक मे बी मॉम सेड और डैड सेड कि हम कल तो हम वैष्णो देवी जा रहे हैं, हम कल नहीं आ सकते। फिर गुरुजी ने हमें भरी दरबार में डांट के बोला, फिर दफा हो, यहाँ क्या करने आई है। हम इतने सहम गए, एंड हम पहली बार ही गुरुजी को मिले थे, गुरुजी ने सबके सामने हमें मतलब डांट दिया। तो इट्स नॉट दैट इट वाज इंसल्टिंग, इट्स दैट इट वाज स्कैरी। हमें लगा कि गुरुजी हमसे प्यार नहीं करते, और इट वाज मोर लाइक दैट। तो फिर हम घर गए, पर हम बहुत कंफ्यूज्ड थे। तो सारी रात आई थिंक चिट्स डाली गुरुजी के सामने या भगवान के सामने कि हमें जाना चाहिए, नहीं जाना चाहिए। तो फिर एक वन क्लैरिटी इमर्ज कि एक महान संत आदमी ने रोक दिया है, तो ये ट्रिप इस वक्त ब्लेस्ड नहीं है, बाद में चले जाएंगे। देयर इज कोई कोई रुकावट है। एट द बेस्ट केस सिनारियो वी थॉट ओके गुरुजी इज आल्सो सेंटली, ट्रिप इज आल्सो सेक्रेड। लेकिन अगर अभी किसी ने सेंटली पर्सन ने हमें रोक दिया है, तो ऑब्वियसली ही इज मोर देन अ सेंटली पर्सन, बट ये हमारी बेसिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग थी उस वक्त 2001 में। तो हम नहीं गए, विच इज अ वेरी बिग डील, बिकॉज हम लोग बहुत बारी वैष्णो देवी जा चुके थे एंड इट वाज आवर मेन तीर्थ यात्रा। तो ये बहुत बड़ी बात थी कि हमने गुरुजी के ये कहने से हम नहीं गए। तो आई नेवर थॉट दैट वुड हैपन, बट इट एक्चुअली हैपेंड। फिर अगले दिन हम वापस, जैसे गुरुजी ने कहा था, हम वापस उनके पास गए, एंड गुरुजी's tone and demeanor changed completely, and he said आ गए वैष्णो देवी वाले, बट वो एक प्यार से और थोड़ा टीज करते हुए। तो हम भी थोड़े मुंह लटका के बट स्माइल कर रहे थे, एंड नाउ एवरीबडी न्यू अस, बट एवरीवन वाज लाइक लविंगली काइंड ऑफ सिग्नलिंग टू अस कि यू मेड द राइट चॉइस। उस वक्त भी ये समझ में नहीं आया था, बट नाउ एवरीवन वाज वेरी स्वीट एंड वेलकमिंग कि हाँ, थैंक गॉड दीस पीपल डिड नॉट लूज आउट ऑन व्हाट इज हियर। गुरुजी अपने आप को पूरा रिवील नहीं करते थे एकदम से। तो दैट इज द फेथ पार्ट, ही हैज ब्रॉट अस हियर, बट देयर वर सम टेस्ट्स टू पास। तो ऐसे 2 साल चलते रहे, एंड हर चीज में ऐसे ही होता था, जब भी जाते थे गुरुजी कहते थे लो आ गए वैष्णो देवी वाले। एंड एंड गुरुजी नेवर यूज्ड टू से एनीथिंग, सो मॉम ट्राइड टू टेल हिम कि मेरी बेटी को ऐसा है, but he just discouraged from saying anything. He never responded much, and I think he basically said ठीक हो जाएगा या something. तो हमारे लिए at that time it was like the biggest problem. Um, and I mean for me it was not, at that point of time I had learned how to deal with it. मुझे कोई दर्द नहीं होता था, मुझे कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होती थी, तो मुझे ऐसे इतनी प्रॉब्लम नहीं लगती थी। बट इट वाज वन ऑफ दोस थिंग्स कि आंखों से दिख रहा है तो ठीक हो जाएगा तो अच्छा है। तो that was the hook, that's why we went and that's why we kept going कि हमें जो चीज हमें चाहिए हमें मिलेगी। So in that, but we didn't understand that to Guruji that was like the least important thing, that was not the thing. Again, Guruji could have said a lot of things, but he didn't say. That was time and faith and patience वो गुरुजी दिखाते थे over a period of time. You had to understand. गुरुजी समझदारी सिखाते थे through those experiences, through time. Otherwise, instantly he would just tell us and we would just do it. We would not learn anything. We would just be listening to him, but without his direct orders, we would be lost. तो गुरुजी हमें ट्रेन कर रहे थे कि how to understand Guru's will and patience over a long period of time. तो फिर ऐसे 2 साल हो गए, फिर मेरा अंडरग्रेड खत्म हो गया। ऐसे हम चलते रहे, वापस जाते रहे गुरुजी के पास। मैं सबसे दूर रहती थी यूएस में, एवरीवन एल्स वाज क्लोजर। तो सब गुरुजी से रेगुलरली मिलते रहते थे, बट आई कुड गो एट द मोस्ट वंस अ ईयर एंड फॉर वेरी फ्यू डेज। तो जब मेरा अंडरग्रेड खत्म हुआ, आई हैड अ 6 मंथ ब्रेक बिफोर ग्रेड स्कूल स्टार्टेड। तो उस वक़्त मैं 1.5 महीना दिल्ली में रही थी विद माय मॉम एंड माय नानी। और उन दिनों सत्संग थर्सडे, फ्राइडे, सैटरडे, संडे को होता था। So that was the best time in my life. We could go to satsang 4 days a week and see Guruji 4 days a week and experience that bliss and blessings. उस वक्त मुझे I guess I was in my early 20s. मुझे इतना समझ में भी नहीं था कि क्या blessings मिल रही है. I just felt very happy there. It was a safe place. It was a happy place. वहाँ पे जाते ही लगता था कि हमारी कोई problems ही नहीं है. If we are here, we are just the happiest. That is the feeling I would describe of being in Guruji's Sharan, in Guruji's grace, that you need nothing else. If you are literally in the satsang, listening to shabads, sitting in Guruji's aura, drinking that wonderful chai prasad, and anticipating one wonderful langar, there is no happier place. So that's why I was very happy. And also, हम लोग because Middle East में थे, I had never gotten to spend that much time with my nani also. So I was happy about that also. तो हम तीनों जाते थे एंड गुरुजी हैड अ लॉट ऑफ रिस्पेक्ट फॉर माय नानी। वो उनसे हैंडशेक करते थे। He had told mom to bring Nani from Ahmedabad, and Guruji always treated Nani with a lot of respect. And Nani is a very spiritual person. She prayed to all the gods and बड़ी sincerely अपनी life में challenges को meet किया with a lot of faith in God. And तो शी हैड हर ओन थिंग कि मैं इन भगवानों में बिलीव करती हूँ, ये तो इंसान है। इवन दो शी डिड नॉट फुल्ली सरेंडर टू गुरुजी एज सच, but Guruji knew, I suppose, her soul, and she was respectful to him, and he was very loving and respectful to her. So I guess I share that to say कि Guruji, matlab, he did not need to bend your will. Guruji saw everybody's soul. So, but humility was important, and Nani was humble. तो फिर in those days सब लोग so my first experience happened, this experience outside of satsang, that it was a Tuesday, I guess, and for some reason I was very upset and शायद किसी से लड़ाई हुई थी, किसी चीज से मैं टेंस थी, तो मैं सारी रात टॉसिंग एंड टर्निंग में सोई नहीं, and I was very mentally disturbed. So I could find no way out of it. Maybe you all know this feeling. कभी-कभी जब दिमाग में कोई कीड़ा बैठ जाता है और आप बिल्कुल भी रेस्ट नहीं कर पाते हैं, and it's very, very disturbing. The whole body is also tossing and the mind is also frantic. तो फिर रात को by 6 in the morning, हाँ, काफ़ी टाइम हो गया था। At some point, अब मैं इंडिया में रह चुकी थी 1 महीना। मुझे वो and I kept wishing, I wish it was my safe and happy place. I wish we were with Guruji. I wish we were in satsang, but satsang is 2 days away on Thursday. तो ऐसे-ऐसे थॉट्स आने लगे। फिर you just start wishing, right? Like when you're distressed for that magical place of peace where everything is solved and good. तो फिर um, I started remembering in that desperate time the things that people used to say in satsang कि अगर आप गुरुजी को याद करो तो गुरुजी आपके साथ है। अब ऐसा कभी the theory was not tested because गुरुजी उन दिनों physical form में थे। तो हमने कभी ऐसा सोचा नहीं था आप गुरुजी को याद करोगे and he'll be with me and he'll hear my thoughts or something. तो but because I was look at Guruji's just wonders and works. You have to be kind of distressed to hear God's voice. And then those messages came through, which I had heard, but I had not practiced because I didn't need to. तो प्रॉब्लम्स भी गुरुजी देखते हैं ताकि हम गुरु को याद करें एंड क्लोजर हो जाएं। कहते हैं ना suffering brings you closer to God. So it was a tiny amount of suffering to see that Guruji is there with you in a non-physical form, even though he was an Astrola then. So this thought occurred to me, and then I thought of Guruji. I said, okay, let me try that. Like a random experiment. That was just the level of faith. Ki, okay, let me try. I have nothing to lose. So I don't know what happened next. Within the thought that I should try that, And the next second, my thoughts would have started ki, Guruji, I'm wishing you be next to me. I don't know what happened. Next thing I know, I was asleep. जो नींद सारी रात को नहीं आई थी, from a desire of a thought of Guruji to an actual thought of Guruji in a split second, I fell asleep. I literally don't know to this day what happened. In that sleep, I saw Guruji. ये मेरे पहले दर्शन थे of Guruji beyond physically seeing him in the Darbar in Chote Mandir. And I saw Guruji fully dressed and grown in his chola as he is, and me also fully dressed and grown in my same age and in my normal clothes. And we are in a playground. और वो जैसे बच्चों का प्लेग्राउंड होता है ना विद स्विंग्स एंड स्लाइड्स एंड क्लाइंबिंग स्ट्रक्चर्स, ऐसा प्लेग्राउंड है. प्लेग्राउंड में और कोई नहीं है. एंड एक्चुअली आई लव प्लेग्राउंड्स. मुझे बहुत मजा आता है एंड इट्स जस्ट अ फ्री एंड हैप्पी प्लेस. इट्स अनदर वन ऑफ दोस प्लेसेस. तो गुरुजी एंड देयर इज नोबडी एल्स इन द प्लेग्राउंड, and Guruji and me are playing in that playground and laughing like best friends. We are having the best time, super happy, just the way you are. It was a best friend feeling. That's the best way I can describe it, because it's that feeling of आपने सब कुछ बोल भी दिया है, आपका दिल हल्का भी हो गया है, but अब कोई बात करने की जरूरत भी नहीं है. In my dream, I did not share any problem with Guruji or anything. No, there was only laughter and play. That's it. And the whole night passed in this beautiful darshan. I woke up completely transformed into happiness and lightheartedness. This was Guruji's, this is Guruji's power and magic. मैं बिल्कुल ठीक हो गई. मतलब मेंटल डिस्टर्बेंस गॉन टू कंप्लीट मेंटल हैप्पीनेस. जो एक माइनर सी प्रॉब्लम थी जो मुझे आज तक याद नहीं है कि क्या लड़ाई थी, क्या था, बट मुझे ये याद है कि गुरुजी आए थे और मैं कितनी खुश हो गई. एंड हाउ पावरफुल दैट वाज, आई विल नेवर फॉरगेट. तो दिस वाज माय फर्स्ट इंट्रोडक्शन टू Guruji is all powerful. He can hear your thoughts. He will be with you in 1 second when you need him, and you can also think about him all the time, and that's something I'm still learning to this date. That was over 20 years ago. तो फिर that was just made me very happy कि गुरुजी आए in a time of distress. ऐसे धीरे धीरे मेरा और गुरुजी का डायरेक्ट कनेक्शन बनता गया, because mom had the courage to talk to him या sit close to him या जो भी था. But in my mind, she was the adult and I was the kid, even though I was grown up. But I used to just sit back. I never said anything to Guruji other than unko dekh ke namaste Guruji, and जाते हुए भी namaste Guruji. I never said anything else. तो उसके बाद I started to feel like, oh, Guruji knows me, not just my mom or my family. He has a radar on me. उसके बाद मुझे गुरुजी के और ड्रीम दर्शंस आने लगे. And in one darshan, he told me, "Tu Shiv Puran pad." Again, I had wanted that Guruji should tell me to do something. That if he's my guru, he should give me some guidance and I should follow it. Then I'll know I'm on the right path. And I got what I wanted again. Again, not because I wanted it. I guess for Guruji, it's, you get what you need, not what you want. But he taught me to want what I needed. So then I had this wish, and then Guruji came in my darshan and he said to Shiv Puran pad. So I got that big fat book. I read it very difficultly. कुछ समझ में नहीं आया. 4 साल लगे, but पढ़ लिया. तो फिर ऐसे वो टाइम निकल गया. अब मैं थोड़ा फास्ट फॉरवर्ड करती हूँ. So in that time, Guruji always used to tell me, and my whole family, two things. When he used to see me and my sister is older and she's also like almost a foot taller than me. So she visibly looks like the elder one. And she's much more smarter and with it. I'm quite lost and clueless. But तो हम दोनों को गुरुजी जब भी देखते थे, गुरुजी हमें पूछते थे, "तू बड़ी है कि छोटी? तू बड़ी है कि छोटी?" He would ask both of us this. या तो वो अकेले या पहले आए या मैं आगे हूँ या हम दोनों इकट्ठे हों. Guruji used to ask us, "तू बड़ी है कि छोटी?" And we would just look at him and smile. We're like, Guruji knows everything. He definitely knows this. ये हमें क्यों पूछ रहे हैं? So we never had the courage to answer him because it was too silly of an answer. Ki technically speaking, everybody knows wo badi hai, main choti hu, but we don't know what is the reason. But Guruji always used to ask this question. And then Guruji started telling, yeah, everyone in my family and me, to me, कि तू ब्याह कर ले, तू ब्याह कर ले, तू ब्याह कर ले. तो गुरुजी पंजाबी में बोलते थे, मैं तो समझ में भी नहीं आता था. But ultimately, my mom and parents got the message, and they just kind of laughed. They said, नहीं गुरुजी, ये तो छोटी वाली है, इसकी शादी अभी नहीं हो सकती. Um, I had been seeing someone from college, and my sister was single. She was not seeing anyone. So they said me until, she finds someone and all that. So after that, Guruji started a period of matchmaking my sister. He said, "तू इससे शादी कर ले, तू इससे शादी कर ले." उन्होंने बहुत लड़के दिखाए मेरी बहन को and to my parents, and ultimately, she met somebody in her grad school, and Guruji approved that boy who is now my brother-in-law since 15 plus years. So, but anyways, even though all of this happened like this, ultimately around 2.5 years after Guruji started saying tu vyah kar le, tu vyah kar le, I had to get myself mentally ready. I was still very young. I was still in grad school, and I had to get my partner's family ready. They didn't believe in Guruji. They also thought we were too young. तो ऐसे कुछ कर करा के 2.5 साल हो गए, फिर हमारी शादी हो गई. फिर विदिन 9 मंथ्स हमारी शादी खत्म हो गई. तो उसके बाद व्हेनेवर आई वेंट बैक टू द बड़ा एंड एट द सेम टाइम गुरुजी ने चोला छोड़ दिया. सो दैट वाज़ अ वेरी डिफिकल्ट एंड डेवास्टेटिंग टाइम फॉर अस. मुझे तो लगता था डायरेक्टली कि सब मेरी गलती है और इसीलिए गुरुजी गुस्सा होके चले गए. एंड गुरुजी का उन दिनों एक कैलेंडर था. And Guruji's expression used to look super sad and very sad and angry in that. But every day, मैं नहा धो के उनको देखती थी, पूजा करती थी, and I also used to feel very sad and ashamed, and he also used to look very sad, and but we had each other. There's nothing else I can say that even through the toughest times in life, और कुछ था ही नहीं. There were no words, there is nobody else, but there is Guruji. And so we just looked at each other for months, and this is after his chola, grieving him and grieving my own life. तो फिर the backstory is also कि जब हम दिल्ली जाते थे, Guruji always used to tell me and us to listen to two aunties satsang, Usha aunty and Sabina aunty. And then, long story short, he had asked Usha aunty to move back from Singapore to Seattle by a certain date, and she had done that. Her family had done that. And I ended up in Seattle for grad school. We had never heard of Seattle before I went there for grad school. So I was one of the few and lucky people outside the US who was in the same town as another Sangat member. And through this thing, कोई India से आ रहा था. Sometimes Usha aunty would bring a calendar of Guruji or something. तो ऐसे we knew that each other is there. तो जब Guruji ने चोला छोड़ा and we were grieving because we didn't understand that Guruji is here in infinite form, we thought he's gone. तो जो हम so called पुरानी संगत थे जिनको ये समझ नहीं थी, जो limited थे by Guruji's physicality, हम बहुत रो रहे थे, दुखी थे. तो as Usha aunty was going through this experience, people would ask her, and separately people would ask me, "आप इतना दुखी क्यों हैं? Have you lost a family member? Who is this person who has gone?" Then we started explaining. Until then, Guruji was also like a secret, because अगर किसी ने, if nobody had it's that same, it's like a secret club. अगर कोई आपसे problem में या curiosity से, if the seeker does not seek the Guru, you not find the Guru. So we had never mentioned Guruji unless somebody else brought it up or somebody used to see his picture in my car. So as Usha auntie's community was asking her, कौन है गुरुजी, कौन है गुरुजी? गुरुजी का स्वरूप था, एक जोत चली हुई थी, and रोते रोते auntie and uncle, MP uncle was sharing about who is Guruji. So other people started having experiences. People who were just hearing about Guruji for the first time started to experience his fragrance, his presence, And we who were lost in our grief could not feel it, could not see it because we were too much in our own emotions. But other people who had no previous, no loss, just a neutral, open mind, वो गुरुजी के बारे में सुन रहे हैं, गुरुजी का स्वरूप है, एंड वहाँ पे ज्योत है, दैट इज अ सत्संग. And that is the very first, I would say, informal satsang that I saw happen before satsang became formalized in its current format, which is more like the way it used to be in Chote Mandir and Bada Mandir. तो फिर ऐसे करते-करते, there was an aunty, तो ऐसे ही सत्संग, एंड देन पीपल स्टार्टेड गेटिंग द मैसेजेस कि सत्संग ऐसे होना चाहिए, यहाँ पे मंत्र जाप होना चाहिए, यहाँ पे एक ओमकार होना चाहिए, ऐसे शब्द होने चाहिए, फिर सत्संग शेयरिंग. So we also started to see that this is Guruji's presence and it means something. तो वहाँ पे हर थर्सडे को सत्संग होने लगा. And I still remember this one auntie who said, I have been depressed for 30, 40 years, for most of my life. But now I just feel happy. Just by 2 weeks of being in Guruji's presence, right in 2007, right after this chola, after Guruji took Samadhi, she just started to feel Guruji's presence through this Seattle satsang, and her depression was lifted and she was a happy person. She said, "Main kahin nahi jati thi. I never used to smile. And now I'm completely lighthearted and happy. I've just started smiling and I'm happy that depression is gone." I'll never forget her. And to this day, she remains happy and connected to Guruji. And her kids were small then. They're also grown up. They're also in Guruji's Sharan. So Guruji is just, he's a miracle in every moment. तो फिर उसके बाद I'll fast forward, तो फिर Guruji also got me my jobs. One day I had gone to satsang in Seattle, and after satsang I brought a plate of langar back to somebody, and I thought, oh, she's a very kind woman, she does a lot for people. I was picking up a friend from there, and I thought, and she's vegetarian, so I thought ki let me bring her a plate of langar, she's a good person. मैंने उनको लंगर दिया. एंड हमारी ऐसे चिट-चैट हो रही थी. आई वाज़ लाइक, हाँ, आई एम वेरी बर्न्ट आउट एट माय जॉब, मुझे छोड़ना है जॉब. शी इज़ लाइक, अच्छा, माय कंपनी, उनका छोटा-सा स्टार्टअप था, 3 लोग थे. शी सेड, वी आर गोइंग टू स्टार्ट, यू शुड अप्लाई फॉर दिस पोज़ीशन. आई सेड, अच्छा, हाँ, मैं देखूँगी. तो जब वो पोज़ीशन का एड निकला, आई सॉ आई डिडन्ट हैव लाइक ज़ीरो क्वालिफिकेशंस फॉर दैट पोज़ीशन. तो मैंने नहीं अप्लाई किया. उन्होंने मुझे शायद एक आध बारी बोला भी होगा, एंड बिकॉज़ इट वाज़ कॉम्प्लिकेटेड, मेरा मतलब H1 स्पॉन्सर करना होगा एंड वो सब. एंड it was like an office manager like position, and I did not think that they would do it for that role. And I needed a break. I had been in a very intense job and my health was very bad at that time. Oh, and I forgot to say that the key thing about the health reason we had gone to Guruji initially is he had given me a kalash, he had blessed it, and he had said, someone, he said one sangat will explain क्या करना है. संगत ने बोला कि आप नमक नींबू से धो दो और पानी भर के रोज फर्स्ट थिंग आप पी लो, आधे से नहा लो और चावल और चुगली मनाएं. एंड ही थॉट, व्हाट, चावल और चुगली? बट दैट्स व्हाट द इंस्ट्रक्शन वाज. तो मैंने चावल छोड़ दिए, एंड I truly from that day tried to stop doing chugli of like talking about something bad behind someone's back. तो यही गुरुजी की इंस्ट्रक्शन थी. तो anyways, fast forward to, I did not apply for this job. One day I got a call to say, Nitika, you have an interview for this position. And I said, that's very good, but I didn't apply for the job. And they said, yeah, we know, it's okay. I don't know what, I was just shocked. But I was like, "Okay, okay, what?" And उससे कुछ महीने पहले had applied for another job. I was the finalist of 2, लेकिन मुझे नहीं मिला. And I was very disappointed. तो अब 9 महीने पास हो गए, then this happened. I said, okay. तो फिर I went to the interview. Again, we discussed everything. I basically was very clear. They are like, do you know how to do this? Do you know how to do this? And I said, no, no, no. So then I said, अच्छा ठीक है. And they called me and they said, you've got the job. We will also sponsor your visa. And I just thought, what is going on? there is no way, I'm not literally, I told them to their faces I didn't apply and I'm not qualified, and still they're giving me the job and they're doing my visa. ये होती है गुरुजी की powers and his grace. And उसके बाद I got the job. 1 month they sponsored the visa, and 1 month later, I was in a villa in Mexico. They decided to have their company retreat in Mexico, and they were very lavish people. So it was a 12-bedroom villa. उसके अंदर swimming pool था. उसके अंदर, I mean, I can't explain what the situation was. It was just absolutely gorgeous. It was in front of the ocean. This was my work life. आप देखिए that instead of the more difficult job I had applied for, that I was sad I didn't get, I had gotten a much easier job, part-time, 4 days a week, so I could take care of my health with a much better salary. And I was in Mexico, just living like a king. It was just amazing. तो again, Guruji's super grace. ठीक है, फिर वहाँ से चलते गए. उसके बाद few years passed and I felt कि my life in Seattle is, kind of that chapter is closing. I had to move on from there. So one day someone planted the thought of like, oh, why don't you move to New York? And I thought, oh, मैंने actually grad school के लिए भी apply किया था, but I didn't end up coming here. And I had kind of always regretted, I didn't go to Columbia. Why didn't I go? And I had always wanted to live in New York. I had done a summer program in New York once. So I thought, yeah, this is a great idea. It was April 2011, and I thought there's nothing holding me here. मैं चलती हूँ. So again, I didn't apply to any jobs at that time. I just felt like the clarity with which गुरुजी ने मेरे लिए गुरुजी ने मुझे ये आइडिया दिया है, गुरुजी ने मेरे लिए एक रास्ता खोल दिया है या खोलेंगे, this is GuruJi's will. And I was fully aligned with it. I said, yes, Guruji, this is a great idea. मुझे कहीं से this out of the blue this thought was planted. तो few months passed. जुलाई हो गया. July 7th को मुझे किसी का फ़ोन आया. And he said, Nitika, I want to talk to you about something, about work. तो मैंने उनका फ़ोन का जवाब नहीं दिया. I think I texted him and I said, आज मेरे लिए is like a spiritual holiday. It's a very sacred, special occasion. So I always take Guruji's birthday off from work. And I said कि नहीं मैं आज नहीं बात कर पाऊँगी, but I'll call you tomorrow. So I would not disturb Guruji's birthday with work. It's Guruji's birthday means Guruji's a priority, like someone you love. So, and I think that day I was dancing for Guruji. And Guruji dance से आप सबको पता होगा कितना क्योर करते थे. Guruji loved dancing. He always used to make people dance at the special occasions, and you were very blessed if you were asked to get up and dance, which we were blessed to. Me, mom, my sister, and so uh, then I went to Satsang. Had a lot of joy in dancing at Guruji's birthday. And then the next day I called this person. Sorry, I have to go a little slow because of the cough. So फिर he told me my organization has a part-time job in New York. We think you're the perfect person for it, etc., etc. Will you take this job? Again, आप देखिए, out of the blue, someone is contacting me and offering me a job. I have not seen a job description. I have not applied. I have not interviewed. And वो मुझे एक phone call आ रहा है गुरुजी's birthday पे that we are offering you a job in New York. I said, what? So I said, ये तो पक्का गुरुजी की मर्जी है क्योंकि गुरुजी के birthday पे phone आया है. And it's another magical offer. Magical offers तो गुरुजी से ही आते हैं. So I said, ठीक है. But I asked a few questions and, I said, is it based in New York? He said, no, it's based in, you can stay in Seattle. It would need to be, you can keep your current job and you can have both the jobs part-time. ऐसे ऐसे. And I said, नहीं मैं ऐसा नहीं कर पाऊंगी. I want to move to New York. So I will need a full-time job that is based in New York and that sponsors my H1 visa. तो ये मेरी 3 चीज़ें थीं that were just the sort of immigration and economic मतलब this was the foundation. I could not move without it, and I didn't want to stay in Seattle. So I said, "मुझे ये चाहिए." I not want but need. So he said, "Acha." He said, "Okay, let me check with the board." So couple of weeks later, he got back to me and he said, "नहीं, sorry, वो तो नहीं हो पाएगा. We don't have the funds for a full-time position based in New York at a New York salary, and also to do your visa, which is a separate cost." And the organization was small. Again, 5 staff members. They had never done that. Never sponsored a visa. And non-profits थी. I've always been in the non-profit sector. तो वहाँ पे it's more rare anyways because salaries are not that competitive like the tech sector where they sponsor visas left and right. So I said, ठीक है. Again, I accepted that as Guruji's will. And I said, नहीं तो नहीं. ठीक है. So then I left it. I was disappointed, but I was not disheartened. I thought, Guruji मुझे यहाँ तक लाए हैं. तो Guruji has a plan, and Guruji is affirming this New York plan. On Guruji's birthday, I got an offer from a New York-based company. Guruji saying, keep moving forward, have faith. I must have only applied to one job. I was not really qualified. I didn't apply to any jobs. But I had such a clear sense कि मैं जा रही हूँ. मैं पक्का न्यूयॉर्क जा रही हूँ. The rest of my life, like next chapter is there. तो अब ऐसे सितंबर हो गया, and I stopped making plans with people after that. I thought, I started telling people, listen, I'll have moved by October because, अब मुझे बहुत ठंडी में move नहीं करना है, तो मैं तब तक चली जाऊंगी. तो I had stopped making social plans with people. I said, no, I won't be around. I'm moving to New York. And then people would say to me, Acha, do you have a job? And I would say, no. And then they would say, have you applied for a job? And I would say, no. And obviously, they must have thought I was completely cuckoo, but there was a conviction. Anyway, September ho gaya. One day, I went on a yoga retreat with some friends. And while I was there, or the day I came back, and it was very, again, peaceful, positive experience. And mujhe that same person who had called me on Guruji's birthday, he texted me and he said, Nitika, we have been working on this. We have a full-time job for you based in New York and we will sponsor your visa. Is this still your dream job? You are still our dream candidate. And I was so shocked and so happy, again, out of the blue. Bina mange, matlab, we had graciously said, ki, oh, so it's okay, sorry if it doesn't work out. And he didn't tell me all these months that he was working on it. He completely let it go. I never followed up with him. And out of the blue, I got this message and everything, all the conditions were met. It made it possible for me to move. And I just fell to my knees in gratitude for Guruji. That evening, I took a bouquet of yellow roses. I don't know why, mere liye yellow roses were the Shukrana roses. And मैं इतनी खुश and just filled with thanks for Guruji and brimming with joy. I went to Satsang that evening in Seattle. और बस खुशी-खुशी में I was just speechless actually. I was, Guruji Guruji obviously knows everything and had done everything. I just thought he knows everything. I have no words to say. Guruji knows my heart and my story inside out. He's the one person to whom I have no words to say. He knows everything. तो वो फूल मैंने गुरुजी के चरणों में चढ़ाए. I just looked at him with love, very happy, sat there in satsang. I told Aunty that day, कि ऐसे ऐसे हो गया है, this is the good news. And she was, a bit sad. She said, but why do you want to go to New York and leave the Sangat? So that I was sad about. Satsang is, Sangat and Satsang family becomes a home. And I said, Auntie, I have to go. So anyways, I went back home that night. And in my sleep, I had a darshan of Guruji. Guruji sitting in a comfortable armchair, unke pair lambe on an ottoman, and he's sitting with his arms crossed, and he's smiling and teasing that same tone, and he's saying, Shukrana bhi nahi keh sakti thi. And I just grabbed his feet in not even a proper way, the way you hold a bouquet of roses. I grabbed the bouquet of his feet. I said, Shukrana, Guruji, Shukrana. I was so foolish that even though I took the roses, I didn't say thank you. And Guruji came to me. Dekhiye, with the care with which Guruji came to me in my dream and taught me to say thank you. And the word was Shukrana. So it's always been Shukrana for me. he taught me that you have to say Shukrana. I just grabbed his feet and I said, Shukrana, Guruji, Shukrana. You know, after someone tells you to do something and you do it, you're just like in first standard, right? You're like a kid, you don't know anything. That's okay. Guruji can teach you anything, anytime if you're willing to learn. तो ऐसे गुरुजी ने मुझे शुक्राना सिखाया. उसके बाद वन सत्संग आई शेयर इन वेरी शॉर्ट. मेरे सर में दर्द होने लगा था. couldn't understand why. एक दर्शन में मैंने देखा, ड्रीम दर्शन अगेन, कि मैं चल रही हूँ एंड एक स्टोर विंडो है. स्टोर विंडो में मैंने देखा कि गुरुजी की फोटो है और गुरुजी ने चश्मे पहने हुए. एज यू नो गुरुजी चश्मे नहीं पहनते थे, बट मैंने देखा कि गुरुजी ने चश्मे पहने हुए. एंड एज आई लुक्ड ही केप्ट चेंजिंग हिज ग्लासेस एंड आई थॉट दिस इज वेरी ऑड. एंड व्हेन आई वोक अप आई अंडरस्टूड आई हैव द हेडेक्स क्योंकि मेरा नंबर बढ़ गया एंड आई हैव टू चेंज माय ग्लासेस. एंड श्योर इनफ आई वेंट and I changed my glasses. And even in those glasses, when I was at the optometer, 3 चश्मों के बीच में मैं बहुत कंफ्यूज थी और मैं फ्रेंड्स को बार बार फोटो भेज रही थी. हाउ अबाउट नंबर 1, नंबर 2, नंबर 3? एंड देन गुरुजी's फोटोग्राफ पॉप्ड अप ऑन नंबर 3 और मैंने नंबर 3 वाले ग्लासेस वहीं पे फट से खरीद लिए. And then I wore them and I took them, and those were the glasses I moved to New York with. And after 1 year, I had LASIK eye surgery. Those were the last pair of glasses I ever wore. Jai Guruji. And the Shabad I heard the morning after the LASIK surgery is, you just don't need glasses. You wake up and you can see everything. And there is a very beautiful Shabad by Snatam Kaur, and it just says, by thy grace I can see, which means so much more than just the physical eyes. But to ऐसे Guruji's, again, Guruji takes care of every little thing down to getting to this point. तो उसके बाद, by the time I had come to New York, I was back on a lot of medicines. My health had been very poor. And कुछ ना कुछ करते मेरी ये विटामिन, वो विटामिन, this, that and the other करके भर भर की दवाइयाँ हो गई थी. And my health was very bad. तो one day I saw that, how did I remember this? किसी तरीके से वो सत्संग में एक मैसेज आया फिर से कि कलश को साफ करना होता है, साफ रखना होता है. And I hadn't cleaned my kalash in a while. And that cleaning that kalash is like our own internal cleaning. अगर वो clean नहीं है, उसका अमृत हमारे अंदर कैसे purify कर सकता है? So I cleaned the kalash, and normally जब मैं उसको नींबू नमक से साफ करती हूँ तो ग्रीन ग्रीन निकलता है पानी ऑक्सीडाइज होके. उस दिन लाल पानी निकल रहा था. वो इतना गंदा था, या it was some form of it was just like a red water that was coming out, like the earth, like a clay red, or I don't even know what it was. उसमें से लाल मतलब like old blood, almost like it was coming out. And I thought, oh my God. And I thought that explains why I've been so sick. And I also thought कि अब जब ये सब निकल गया है, कल का पानी तो कैसा अमृत जैसा होगा. तो ऐसे excitedly I went to sleep, and it was literally the second day of my new job in New York. So I went to sleep, I woke up, I went and went to drink my amrit. And normally वो इतना pure अमृत होता है, I just drink it within 30 seconds, खड़े खड़े, और मैं चलती हूँ. And मैं खड़ी हूँ, I poured the glass of अमृत, मैंने पीना शुरू किया. वो इतना bitter, इतना कड़वा था, इतना कड़वा अमृत पानी मैंने लाइफ में नहीं पिया. इतना कड़वा, जो मेरी कड़वी से कड़वी दवाइयाँ थी जो मैं खाती थी while growing up, it was more bitter than that from pure amrit, which is also its own magic. I don't know what happened, but इतना कड़वा मैं उसको जल्दी-जल्दी नहीं पी पाई. मुझे आधा घंटा लगा, and by the time I went from standing to slowly sitting down and sipping it like it is poison, but I have to drink it, मैं धीरे-धीरे एक छोटा-छोटा सिप पी के आई एम ट्राइंग टू फोर्स इट इनसाइड मी, और अंदर से मेरी तबीयत और खराब हो रही है, पेट में दर्द हो रहा है, नौसिया हो रहा है. इट वाज़ गेटिंग लाइक वर्स, बट आई वाज़ ड्रिंकिंग इट. तो मैंने पिया वो पूरा, और उसके बाद मेरी तबीयत इतनी खराब हुई, आई हैड टू कॉल इन सिक ऑन माय सेकंड डे ऑफ माय न्यू जॉब एंड आई हैड टू से आई एम सॉरी, आई एम फीलिंग वेरी सिक, आई कांट कम टू वर्क, एंड आई वेंट स्ट्रेट बैक टू बेड। नहा धो के अमृत पी के आई वेंट स्ट्रेट बैक टू बेड। फिर मुझे एक और दर्शन हुआ गुरुजी का। इस दर्शन में the long and short of it was, again, Guruji said, you can either trust the one inside of you or you can trust me. And exact words I forget, but the message of that darshan was ki that inner voice, which is our ego, that I will do it, I will solve it, this is my thought, I should do this. Or we can listen to Guruji's voice, the voice of the conscience, the voice of the heart, the voice of the soul. Guruji's guidance, you can either listen to Guruji's guidance if Guruji is in your heart, or you can listen to your ego. You cannot do both. You have to choose one. So, whatever my understanding was, I took that whole bag of medicines and I dumped it in the trash. And I thought, Guruji gave me this kalash. There is nothing else for me but this kalash. Whatever healing has to happen will happen through this Amrit. And my only job is to keep it clean. So that was, Auntie, I'll just pause. The Darbar disappeared for me for some reason. So I just wanted to check in. Are we okay on time? Ekta Auntie, just let me know. Is it okay? Should I go on or should I wrap it up?
Sure, Aunty, please go on.
अच्छा ठीक है. जय गुरु जी. I see. Um, तो फिर that was the next kind of beginning of the new chapter in New York, and now I've been here for 11, 12 years. And despite this patch of, rough health going on right now with COVID and all, but overall, I have been much healthier in these 10 years than I had been in the prior decade. And I'll fast forward to the time, my personal experience. आपने मेरी मम्मी का सत्संग तो सुना ही होगा, Gauri auntie ka, about her illness and recovery. But I'll share my experience of it and the powers of Guruji from jahan, from, I guess, the perspective which was shown to me. So when mom had gotten sick, again, I'll try to share it in short. तो जब वो बीमार हुई थी, on the Saturday, I spoke to her. I called her. वो इंडिया में थी, मैं यहीं थी न्यूयॉर्क में. And उनका जो hello निकला ना, it was not like a hello. It was like a person on their deathbed. मैं वो hello सुन के इतनी घबरा गई, फ़ोन रख दिया मैंने, इमीडिएटली फ़ोन रख दिया कि मॉम आपकी तबीयत बहुत खराब है, आप बात नहीं कर सकते, लेट्स टेक्स्ट. मैंने फ़ोन रख दिया एंड my heart was just racing on. I was so anxious and I started praying to Guruji. I just started praying to Guruji right away, and this is on the Saturday. She's still at home thinking she has a cold. But from that hello, I understood something is very seriously wrong, because it was to me the sound of somebody on their deathbed. So I started praying mantra jap, nothing else mantra jap. I started calling my dad and my sister and everybody frantically that something is very wrong with mom. By the next day, instead of staying on in India as was the original plan, dad took mom back with him. And then from the airport, they went directly to the hospital. And wahan se she went directly onto the ventilator. And she was practically unconscious by the time she was in the car. This is what we all heard later. We were spared the torture of witnessing all of that, but dad went through that. So on Monday morning, what I had also learned from Sangat is that that you can just sit alone with Guruji and form your own, that's your private connection with Guruji, your own bond. We need the satsang with everybody because we learn from other people's experiences. We learn through Sangat and through people. And we need our own one-to-one connection with Guruji, because that is where those direct communication and messages and guidance happens. So Monday mornings was my alone time with Guruji. तो मैं प्रिपेयर कर रही थी, चाय प्रसाद बना रही थी, And I got the call from dad, just sobbing and shaken, saying, "Your mom is on the ventilator. She's admitted to the hospital." I was so shocked. I don't know what I did first or next. I was still making chai prasad. I called my best friend, just crying, saying my mom is hospitalized. She's on the ventilator. And I proceeded to do my satsang. I walked into the puja room to start doing the satsang with the chai prasad. And before I could play a shabad started playing, and it was Shukar Datya. In that moment of profound shock, I could feel Guruji's presence. Guruji was straight away, Guruji played the shabad, not me. I did not press play. I did not choose that. And I would not have chosen to start there. I would have started with Ek Omkar. I would have started with So Satguru Pyara Mere Naal Hai. I would have never started with this Shabad. I didn't even barely know it. And Shukar Datya started playing. And one deep understanding reached my heart. Guruji is saying, everything will be okay. तू बस शुक्राना कर ले. That's all you need to do. अभी से शुक्राना कर ले because मैंने संभाल लिया है. So that one Shabad carried me through the next 2 months. That is the power of Guruji reaching you in a time of crisis. We have to hold on. He threw me a lifeline, but you have to hold on to that lifeline of faith because practically we could do nothing. Everything had to happen through the hands of doctors. And I can feel through my cough Guruji saying to wrap it up. There's not much talking time left, so focus on the main messages. So, Shukr Datya, always do Guruji Shukrana, no matter what. एक शब्द भी है, कारण करता जो करे, शीतल मन करे शुक्राना. अगर हम किसी भी क्राइसिस के बीच में अपना मन शीतल कर सकते हैं, सिर्फ शुक्राना निकलना चाहिए, बिकॉज जो भी दिया है गुरुजी ने दिया है, थैंक यू फॉर एवरीथिंग, व्हाट यू गेव मी, व्हाट यू डिडंट गिव मी, जो प्रॉब्लम्स दिए हैं, जो खुशियां दी हैं. जो प्रॉब्लम्स दिए हैं वो कर्म काटने के लिए दिए हैं, और वो 10% है जो होना था उसका. और जो खुशियां दी हैं वो 1000% है, बिकॉज वी ऑल्सो नो दैट वी डोंट डिजर्व एनीथिंग. लाइक देयर इज नथिंग दैट वी आर इंटाइटल्ड टू. जो मिल रहा है गुरु जी की ग्रेस है. So the next thought which is coming is to Guruji wants me to share the poem which he gave to me. In a Monday satsang, Guruji transmitted a poem to me. आप अभी मेरा सत्संग सुन रहे हैं. Even people always, my family will always remind me कि हिंदी में बोलना. मैं भूल जाती हूँ. It always converts to English. So for a person like me, this poem, which was transmitted completely in Hindi, in Guruji's language and Guruji's words, it has to be shared with you because that is Guruji's want. It's called Khazana. Guruji wants you to know this. जिस पर गुरु का साया पड़ा, वो मोह माया से मुक्त हुआ. जिस पर गुरु का साया पड़ा, वो मोह माया से मुक्त हुआ. उसने सबसे प्यार किया और हमेशा शुक्राना दिया. फिर सभी को माफ किया, हर किसी को आसरा दिया. खुले दिल से वो जिया, खुले हाथ से सब कुछ दिया. इस दुनिया से हसमुख गया, भव सागर को पार किया. जिसको गुरु ने शरण में लिया, उसने असली खजाना पाया. जिसने गुरु को प्यार किया, उसे वहीं पर मोक्ष मिला. सो जय गुरु जी. बहुत बहुत प्यार, बहुत बहुत माफी फॉर ऑल माई मिस्टेक्स, माई सारी गलतियों के लिए. कुछ गलत बोला हो, जो आप चाहते थे बुलवाना वो नहीं बोला, जो भी था, बहुत बहुत माफी और बहुत बहुत शुक्राना. यही मैजिक वर्ड और की वर्ड गुरुजी ने मुझे सिखाया है, और यही वर्ड पोएम में है कि जो भी गुरुजी के मेन मैसेजेस हैं, ही वांट्स टू ट्रांसमिट कि वी हैव टू लव एवरीवन. We have to forgive everyone. We have to treat everyone like the divine, because वो divine light सब में है. गुरु की जोत सब में है. तो अगर हम किसी की निंदा चुगली करते हैं, हम गुरु जी की निंदा चुगली कर रहे हैं. अगर हम किसी से गुस्सा है, नाराजगी है या नामाफी है, वो हम गुरु जी के साथ कर रहे हैं. Whatever we do to another human being, we are doing to God, because the divine light is in everyone. So that is true of us too. That divine light is in us. We also have Guruji's Jyot in us. So we can be our divine self and listen to the divine guidance, or we can be our ego filled self. And we'll know ego by the presence of Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Ahankar. So we have to not do those things. If anything is one of those five things, anger, lust, greed, ego, jealousy, then that is not our divine self. And if we have just love, lightheartedness, laughter, forgiveness, kindness for other people, for everybody, for ourselves, that is our divine self. Jai Guruji. बहुत बहुत शुक्राना Guruji. Thank you so much for these blessings, especially in a difficult time. The blessings are even sweeter. Very welcome. बहुत बहुत शुक्राना Guruji. Jai Guruji.